Hi guys, welcome to Hip Mobility with Tamara Vodovos and the University of California, Davis and the Live Well Department. Today we're going to work hard on mobilizing our hips. It's going to feel great. The hips hold a lot of tension. They are also the powerhouse of our body. That's where our biggest muscles, our most powerful muscles are. So it feels good to release them, to move them, and to also gain a little bit more range of motion. And that makes our life so much better because we feel more comfortable in our body and we feel more comfortable either sitting, walking, running, whatever activity it is that you do. I'm sure, guaranteed, hips are involved. So all you'll need for today's class is an open space, either a yoga mat or a blanket or a towel to be comfortable on the floor. I forgot to bring my myofascial tools, so we won't be doing that today. But if you want to do some myofascial release, just refer back to other hip mobility classes and you'll get to see that. We use a lot of things to roll around on and soften or not soften, but release the tension, help to release the tension in our thighs and our glutes. If you're familiar with foam rolling, that's a big part of it. So if you want to, in addition to today's class, if you also want to take some time to do foam rolling on your thighs, please go ahead and do that because it complements really well what we're going to be doing today. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start standing, and you can use a wall to support yourself. Just make sure that there's no furniture or obstacles in the way because we're going to be swinging our legs around. So just keep the space clear for full range of movement. So let's start standing. All right, and I've purposely set myself up here against the mirror and the dance pole. Let's see, hey Matt. Yes, you can always go back to the recorded classes. We have tons of classes on our page, lots of resources there. Whenever you have time, just go back to see the recordings and get that practice in. All right, let's start. So standing, go ahead and take your feet wide, a little bit wider than your hips, and let your knees be receptive. We don't want to lock our knees, but we want to be able to use our knees as shock absorbers, also with the ankles. So if you look at the way that animals move, they always land and bend. So we want to make sure that we remember to do those things and we train our body to respond in that natural way to the movements that we do. So with that in mind, inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, release. Take a few breaths here just to center. To arrive and to set the tone. We're going to be working for the next almost hour. So I want to bring all our attention to this work, leaving everything else on our to-do list to a side for now. Great. And now let's continue inhaling, taking the arms up. And this time on the exhale, bend the knees a little bit, hinge the hips back, fold forward, sweep the floor with your fingertips, and then inhale, come back up with a flat back. following with your breath. And release. All right, take your feet a little bit wider. Turn the toes out. And this time, on your inhale, reach up. And on the exhale, bend the knees and come low. Keep it going. Make sure that your toes and your kneecaps are pointing in the same direction. And last one. Go ahead and come back to that wide squat. Bring your hands to your knees. Keep the arms straight. And here I'll let you take the shoulders up into your ears. It's kind of like the only time that this is a good idea. Just let your body hang here. So straight arms pressing down into the knees. Just let your weight hang down here. It's a passive stretch. Take deep breaths here. Releasing the waist, the low back. Take a deep breath. And on the exhale, press back up and release for a moment. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, let's come back to that wide squat. And now take shoulder to the opposite knee, alternating side to side. And let's hold to one side, take a few deep breaths here. And hold on the other side. And come back to center and up. All right. And now find a support, find a wall. I have, of course, this dance bar, which is excellent. Not everyone has a dance bar at home, but you can just have your hand on the wall and it'll work just fine. So we'll start on the side of the wall, and we're just going to swing our leg back and forth. Make sure that there's nothing around to kick. And flex your foot so that you don't stub your toe doing this. Very simple. Just warming up the muscles here. And swinging the leg back and forth. Counting about 20 of these reps. And let's change to the other side. go back to the first side. And here you can have your hands, both hands on the wall in front of you. And we're going to swing the leg across, side to side. And I'm counting about 20 of these reps. And let's change to the other side, other leg, 20 reps. Alright. You can also be doing this with a chair in front of you. So anything that is very stable and that is going to give you support. Okay. Now let's come back to fine movement, fine tuning in our hips. So standing with your feet a little bit wider than the hips, knees receptive, toes pointed in the same direction as your kneecaps. Bring your hands to your hips and we'll tilt our hips forward and back. Bring your hands to your hips so you can really feel and notice the change in the angle. So we want to tilt the hips, want to feel that the hips are tilting anteriorly and posteriorly. Anterior, posterior. Feel the front hip bones and notice how the angle changes. And you might not feel a lot of it. It's okay. The effort of moving the muscles in that direction is what we're looking for. Creating that action in those small stabilizing muscles. It's really, that's where the gain is. That's where you're going to feel the difference. And remember that you have to do these things consistently to really see a difference long term. It's going to feel great after we do 1 hour of practice, but if you really want to change your hip mobility, you have to be consistent. And now side to side. Side to side. And allow your knees to follow as much as needed to really get that angle to change. It really helps to have the hands on the hips to help you with your proprioception. Proprioception is our ability to feel where our body is in space. All right, and now we're going to go full circle, forward, side, back, side. Marking each one of the 4 directions. And now smooth it out. All the way around. Notice if there's any direction that feels particularly sticky or difficult. Just taking a note of our asymmetries and the differences in our body. All right, and bringing it back to center. Let's go now in the other direction. First, marking the 4 directions. And now smooth it out. All right, and bring it back to center. That's really good work to just pay attention on those directions of movement with the hips. Okay, now I want us to create space right here in the low back and the sacroiliac area. So let's come to a wall, and let me see if I'm in this wall. No? I'll just move it over a little bit. Okay, so come to your wall. Bring your fingertips to the wall. I'm going to move it a little bit more. And step back. Take the feet wide and come up onto your tippy toes. Lift the heels, bend the knees, and extend your spine. Push the fingertips, keep pushing the fingertips into the wall, and trying to take your sit bones far, far, far away from you. Adjust the stance so that you really feel that action. It's a counter action of pressing forward with the fingertips and back with the hips. You're basically creating space and lengthening the spine. And bend your knees as much as you need to have that flat low back. So we don't want to round in the low back. So this would be a posterior tilt of the pelvis. We want to look for neutral. So this is a little too much anterior tilt. So we don't want to go too much into this arch position. Bring your belly in and find a neutral place for your spine. And breathe deep right here, creating space in this area. And slowly come back up. We'll repeat this same action, but in a wide forward fold. So let's come back to our mats. Okay. Stand with your feet wide, wider than your mat. Feet parallel to each other, and hug the legs in towards your midline. As if you were wearing socks on a slippery floor and you're sliding out, so you have to hug in so that you don't end up in a splits. We'll do that later, just kidding. But hopefully some of these hip mobility exercises can give you that increased range of motion that eventually you can do the splits. How about that? Okay. Hugging in towards the middle. Knees receptive. Belly in, spine lengthening. And bring all 10 fingertips together like you're holding a little sphere in your hands. And bring it right in front of your heart. On your inhales, fill up the back body. Breathe into the back of the ribs. And on your exhale, tone your navel and keep space, that space that you gathered on the inhale. As you exhale, keep this space long, broad. So don't let yourself collapse, bringing the ribs down towards the hips, but keeping that space between the hips and the ribs long. Keep hugging the legs in towards the midline. Keep breathing and expanding the back body. And as you exhale, with each exhale, hinge your hips back just a few degrees. Inhale, expand. Exhale, hinge a little bit deeper, taking the hips back and reaching the fingertips forward. Keep your head neutral. And with each exhale, we're hinging just a few degrees deeper. Take the hips back and counter reach with the fingertips forward until you reach the floor. And when you reach the floor, keep taking the hips back and reach with your fingertips forward so the hips go way beyond the heels. Lift your toes, keep hugging the legs in towards the midline. Breathing into the back body and creating length and space in the low back and the sacroiliac area. One more big breath. And on your exhale, walk your hands forward, and let's come into downward dog. Pedal your feet. How does that feel in your low back? I love it. It decompresses the spine. It's very healthy. And on your inhale, come forward to plank and down to your belly. Bend your knees and take your feet side to side. And notice also the range of motion here with your legs. So can you notice how far your legs can go, rotating both internally and externally? All right, and let's come up on your arms, and you can hang here. So you can let the shoulders crunch into your ears, it's okay. So what I want us to do is to shift the hips side to side. Keep the knees down. It's like a seal. So you can get a little stretch on the side of your hips. Now bend the knees and take the feet all the way to the floor, to behind you. Now let's pause on one side, letting the hips hang here. And to the other side. Let's come into a child's pose with our knees wide. And we can rest here for a moment. Take a deep breath. Come up. And keeping the knees wide, take one hand to the floor behind you and lift the hips on your inhale. Exhale to change and lift. Keep going, alternating side to side. Enjoy these stretches. Feels so good. Okay. And downward dog, shake it out, pedal it out. Inhale, take your right leg up, bend the knee, open the hip. Open, open, open. So I'm gonna give you guys an alternative. So some of us will make big circles here in downward dog, taking your knee under, across, out to the side, up, and repeat. And the rest of us can do it standing with your hand supporting on the wall. Drawing big circle with your knee, and we'll go in both directions with both legs. So choose your adventure, either in downward dog or at the wall. Let's see if we can do 10 circles in each direction with each leg. All right, I'm going now to my second side. If you can't do 10, that's all right. Just do as many as you feel comfortable doing. I'm changing direction now. All right. Whew. I did 10 in each direction, each leg. It's a workout, it feels good. Just move at your own pace. Do as many as is comfortable for you. All right, so if you were on the wall, let's come back, everyone back to the mat. And we'll come into downward dog. Inhale, take the right leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Lower the back knee down. Lean onto the left hand. Take your right foot more out to the right. And press your knee away with your right hand, with your right arm. And let your hips hang here towards the floor. Deep breaths. that front leg a few times. Back and forth. And notice that my right leg is open. If it's more comfortable to have the foot closer to your hand, that's okay. Find the angle where you feel that you have mobility and work around the edges. So we go first where we're comfortable, and then we start to explore the new territory from there. But notice that I'm doing a little wiggle here. I'm exploring new territory, new space. Keep your heel pressing strong down into the floor and spread the toes. And find that new territory, the edges, where the growth happens. And the next time you come forward, open up again here. Just pressing left hand firm into the ground, right knee open, and open up the right arm and look back. Let the hips come down towards the floor, bend the back knee and catch the foot behind you. Press the foot into the hand like you're going to shoot an arrow. You're creating a bow action. Spread all 10 toes. Deep breaths. And now bring the foot towards your glute. Oh yeah. Feel this nice on your hip flexors and your quads. And here there's also space for exploration, finding the edges. Lots of variations possible here. Find the one that feels fun, that feels good, that feels that you're on your edge of growth. Release. And you can stay here on your hands, or you can come down to your forearms. Remember, finding your edge of growth. And here we're going to rock side to side. All right, coming back to your hands, heel toe that right foot more towards the center. Take a deep breath. And lift the back knee, step back, downward dog, pedal it up. And let's take the left leg up. Reach it long, deep breath, and step it forward. Lower the back knee down. Walk your right hand away from the left foot and press the knee away from you. Let the hips sink towards the floor. Keep your belly in though. And coming back onto your hands, on both hands, so we can take the hips back and forth. Exploring the new territory. A little wiggle, a little shimmy, shimmy. Keep the left toes up. Left toes up, heel pressing down into the floor. And the next time your hips come forward, ground the right hand, open the left arm, look back. And bend the back knee. You can also use here a strap, a towel, a scarf to reach for that back foot. And then kick the foot into the hand. And now bring the heel in towards the glute. Any fun variation works here. The deep breaths. Enjoy this space. Okay, let go. And either staying on your hands or coming down to the forearms. Shimmy side to side. The back knee, step back, downward dog, pedal it up. All right, keeping your hands firmly connected to the floor. Bend the knees, extend. Look forward and take a little hop. Land in a squat. Squat, squat. In squat positions, I do squat positions when we do foot and ankle mobility, and also when we do hip mobility, because squatting is one of the most awesome exercises you can do to keep your body healthy, mobile, and comfortable for years to come. Keep your fingertips down on the floor and shift a little bit side to side. You can also have your hands on the chair. Side to side. Keep the fingertips down. Take a deep breath. And lift the hips, turn the heels out, fold forward. And bend the knees to slowly roll up to standing. All right, how are we doing? Shake it out a little bit. Shake the hips a little bit. A little shaky shake here. All right, so we're going to do a little bit more of effort. Take it as, one spoonful at a time. So you can also use the wall for this one as well. You can have your hands on the wall as we do this exercise, or you can try to do it hands-free. So we'll have the feet wide, and then we'll turn, lower a knee down. So very important that you pivot on your feet so that the knee and the toes point in the same direction. So you could have your hands on the wall if you need to. And we're really looking here for this rotation. 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 It's going to warm up these muscles for what we're going to do next on the floor. Come on, how many more you got? Let's do 2 more. Good job. Whew. It's really powerful, huh? Right here. Shake it out. And let's come down to the floor. And I really like doing this, this exercise on the floor for hip mobility. We'll sit in a 90-90 position with our legs. So let's start with the left leg forward. And I'm trying to keep my hips and my shoulders square towards the front of the mat. So my thigh goes straight forward and the shin across, 90-90. And the same with the right leg. The thigh goes out on 90 degrees, knee bent, 90 degrees. All right, so some of us are gonna fall over to the left. If that's happening, go ahead and roll up your blanket so you can create a little prop to lift the hip up so that you're not collapsing to the left. Does that make sense? Okay. So it can be a blanket, it can be a cushion, whatever you have available at home, a towel to lift this hip up. I'm not going to use it, I just wanted to show you. I am actually going to open the blanket out more so I have more surface to move. Okay. And from here, lift the spine, deep breaths. And we'll reach with our fingertips forward. On the inhale, lift the chest, extend the spine, and on the exhale, fold in. Let's do 5 reps. And you can do 5 more reps with your fingertips on the floor, or now 5 reps with hands free and pushing with the shin to come back up. There's a lot of effort from this thigh to push yourself back. Last one. Great. Fingertips back to the floor, and this time when you lean forward, lift the back heel. Woo, cramp. Five of those. And again, you might not get a lot of movement, but the action, the effort of going in that direction is where we want to be. All right, now you can lean onto the right hand, and we're just going to lift the right knee and bring it back down. Keep that foot flexed, you're rotating on your heel. Okay, still leaning on the left hand. Actually, you'll be able to modify with your hands as needed. We're going to take the right leg, kick it forward, and then kick it back. And keep going, back and forth. Let's do 10. Now stacking. Left shin is still down. Right shin stacking above. Now if you're up here, that's all right. Just bring cushions, and prop yourself up as much as you need to. Remember, come to the place where you're comfortable and then slowly find the edge of growth. I'm really getting my buttocks out of the way so I can have a neutral spine, so I'm not rounding in my back. I want to be up. If you're rounding in your back, then you need to sit on a blanket, a towel, or a cushion to lift your hips a little bit. Bring your spine tall. You can bring your hands behind you, lift the chest, and lift your hips a little bit away from the floor to get that length in the spine. Take a deep breath, and then lean forward. Press your hands into your feet, and your feet into your hands. Now it might be that you just lean forward a tiny bit, or it might be that with each exhale, you find a little bit more space, and you can lean in a little bit deeper. Take a few deep breaths here. And slowly come up. Maybe lift the hips if that feels good. Release. Woo. Shake it out. Feels good, huh? Intense. Awesome. All right, we're going to the other side. Right shin forward. Left shin out. Remember all the props. If you need to prop your right hip, go ahead and do that. And do not be surprised if it feels different on the other side, because we do have asymmetries. And it's okay to acknowledge that. It's not wrong. But it is important to work towards balancing out our sides, because that will be beneficial for the long term to keep our body balanced. All right, and reaching forward with your fingertips. Exhale to come in. Inhale to come up. We'll do 5 of these. And you can continue 5 with your fingertips on the floor, or choose to reach, hands free, and push to come up. All right, back, fingertips back to the floor, and now lift the back heel as you lean forward. We're doing 5 of those. And now lean on your right hand, keep the left heel down, and we'll lift and lower the left knee. Counting 10 of these. All right, and now kicking. 10 kicks, back and forth. Last one. And stacking. So ankle over knee, knee over ankle. We call this in yoga fire log because it's like we're building a little fire pit. Stacking one shin on top of the other, like logs. Remember to bring cushions, props. If you're up here, it's okay. Just bring things under to support. Keep the feet flexed. That's really important to keep the knees in their proper orientation. If you feel anything tweaky on the knees, please back out. You don't want to feel anything intense on the joints. Lift your glutes. Lift a little bit here so you can extend the spine. Take a breath. And on your exhale, lean forward. And it might just be here. It might just still be up here. It doesn't matter. Be at your edge. Deep breaths. And breathe into the hips. Breathe into this space. Only go as far as is comfortable for you today. Stay here, breathing, releasing, trying to find space with the breath. And slowly come up. Maybe lift the hips if that feels good. And release. Woo. Shake it out. All right, last but not least, the most intense of all, froggy. So both knees out, bent 90 degrees, and come down onto your forearms. And here we'll work on hip tilting. Anterior and posterior tilting. Pretty intense, but this is really where the rubber meets the road. And again, it might not look a lot for you. Remember that the effort of creating that action is where the gain is. After you've done about 10 of those tilts, now we'll rock forward and lift the heels, and then rock, take the hips back. Your belly might come all the way to the floor here. Keep your feet flexed, toes spreading. moment in a wide child's pose, whatever feels good. And slowly come out. Oh, bring your knees together. And let's come to lay on our back. Oh, hallelujah. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Shake your legs out. Make circles with your knees. Rock side to side, really whatever feels good in your body. Let's do a twist, crossing your left leg over the right and taking the legs all the way to the right. Deep breaths and deep releasing here. And go ahead and change to the other side. Cross the other leg on top. And twist to the other side. And some time for just laying flat on your back. Shake out the legs. Wiggle it out. Whatever you need to give yourself a moment of full rest here. All right, and I will let you stay there resting as much as you need. If you followed through this whole class, congratulations. That was a really good hip mobility workout. I feel it. It feels great. I feel like I was really on my edge of growth. So I hope that you can also take yourself to that place where you feel really accomplished. Thank you so much for following today, and I'll see you again soon. More of this to come. Ciao, ciao. Take care.